It is a fabulous Thursday, and especially during this time of year, this is the year that you get to plan for next year. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, oh, don't get me thinking about goals. Well, today we're going to be talking about a way that will help make your goals easier. Easier to set them, easier to identify them, then easier to start working on them. And that's why I am especially so excited today, because I absolutely love planning out my life and designing my life to be what I want. Not just reacting to what everybody else says or does, but designing my life to be mine. I want to teach you that same skill today, and that's what we're going to talk about. And in life, you can either design it or you can react to it. The problem is when you react to it, you really don't have any control. You don't have much say in what goes on because you're constantly reacting. Now, there's an element of reacting to life. Obviously, things may happen that you weren't planning on, and then you react in that circumstance. But otherwise, you can design your life that you are pushing towards specifics and making your life what you want it to be. If you like to travel, you start designing your life around travel and the focus of that and how to achieve that. So the exercise I'm going to talk about, it's called the best year ever. The reason this is so wonderful is because you write your story. You design your life ahead of time. Now, I want you to imagine, instead of it being 2019, you're coming into 2019, imagine it's 2020. Wow. 2019 is done. It's already done. It's over with. And now you are doing a reflection of everything that went on in 2019 that made it the best year ever. So you literally you get a piece of paper and you are going to journal and write about why 2019 was the best year ever. And that's your story, whatever it is you want. This is what I do every year, and I look forward to it. And then I also do it periodically throughout the year as well, with specific things in mind. But this here is you're going to lay out all of 2019 and why it was the best year. Why was it so spectacular? What went on? What happened? What did you do? Did you travel? Did you make the promotions that you want? Did you get the promotion? Did you start a new business? What was it that you did that made it the best year ever? And then you write it down, and you just write it out in detail. I mean, you just list and list and list. Just keep listing all things and write it as a story. And what, for example, part of my best year was talking about, wow, this last year was amazing. It was so amazing. My wife and I, we connected in a way unlike any time we have before. We joined in unity and purpose. We communicated so much better. Oh, and then because of our communication, it was so much better. Our children, they started appreciating and loving us even more. The fighting reduced because we're just more unified all the way across the board. Oh, and then on top of that, and I just kept going and going and going. Well, as I'm looking back over my last year, so this is what I did last year for 2018, and I actually wrote it as if it was 2019 and 2018 had already happened. And this year, man, a lot of it came true. A lot of it was just awesome. Did that mean everything did? No! But it wasn't meant to be. Could it? Possibly. I don't know, but I was in the driving seat of my life. I was the one dictating and steering where I wanted to go as much as I possibly could. Did I have some curveballs that came at me? Absolutely. But That's not what we're talking about. We are talking about designing your life and driving it where you want to go. So, where do you want to go for 2019? This exercise is simple. All you do is you write up, wow, 2019 was the best year ever because, and then you just let it flow. Don't get all caught up in the minutiae of, the tiny details. Just let it flow. Whatever comes to mind. If you want to travel to Tahiti, then put that down there. That's why it was one of the best years ever. Is you traveled to Tahiti and you had a wonderful, fantastic time. You sat there drinking pineapple and coconut and juice, whatever it is. But be detailed and specific of why it was your best year ever. If you do this simple little exercise, you will see a difference this next year. Because then what you've done is, after you've gotten everything laid out, after you've written your story, after you've got all the things that made it the best year ever, then you can go back through the process and you can identify what it is that made it the best year. And when you can identify what it is, then you can break that down into very small micro goals. And as you break them down into micro goal after micro goal after micro goal, what starts happening is you are living your best year. And once you start living your best year, your excitement, your passion, your love of life, your just enthusiasm is so much greater than if you just are reacting to what's going on. So identify what those goals are. Then you break those down into micro goals. And as you break down the micro goals, you just start checking them off. You put these on your vision board. And so let's just say for an example, you want to travel to Iceland. It says, I'm going to use this one because my daughter is wanting to go to Iceland. So let's just say that's the goal. The goal is Iceland. Well, and she talks about how she traveled to Iceland and how it was amazing and what she saw. So she's starting to visualize it. Well, she puts that main goal on her vision board. Well, when you just look at Iceland as a whole, it's like, oh, that's never going to happen. So what you have to start doing is breaking it down into the pieces. So again, this is an example. She traveled to Iceland in 2019. And that's what made it was the best year ever, because of the experiences she had. Well, now she knows that because Iceland is such a huge goal for her and to make 2019 the best, she can start breaking that down into micro goals. So a simple micro goal is to figure out how much it's going to cost. You got to figure out the cost. Then figure out an itinerary. Then figure out, plane travel ticket. I mean, that's all kind of in their cost. But you can see how I'm starting to break it out. When do you want to do it? And the more you break this down into simple processes and to simple goals, the more likely you achieve it. The more likely you achieve it, you are living your best year ever. So do this exercise. Go through. Pretend 2019's already happened. It's January 1st, 2020. And this was the best year ever because. And then just let it flow. Let all the thoughts and the feelings of why it was the best year ever. Maybe your health was just in its best shape ever and you were able to do things that you didn't think you would be able to do. Maybe, I don't know what it is that makes it the best year for you. But for me, I know it includes more presenting and speaking and training and helping people. And I just look forward to doing this exercise because it helps me to realize what it is that I really want. And when you realize what it is you really want, that's when you love life. That's when you're passionate about it, because then you can start achieving it. So take the time, set aside the time. I would set aside at least an hour, because when I first started doing this, I only just set about 10 minutes aside, because I thought it would be just kind of really fast and I would have, half a page or something like that. No. Once you start flowing with this, once it starts going, oh man, it is so awesome, because it just builds. And after 2.5, 3 pages later, I finished. And it was awesome. I finished, I was like, man, if that all happens, that would be the best year ever. And I can say that not all of it happened, but I can say a lot of it happened, and it has been a phenomenal year. Well, 2019 is going to even be better. And it's going to be better for you, because you're going to design your life by doing this simple exercise. So set aside the time, set aside at least an hour. And if you can't set aside that much, set aside blocks of time so that you can just focus strictly on that. And then get this done. So you are springboard. You're jumping into 2019 running. And I'm not talking about just setting goals like, oh, I'm going to go to the gym once a week. I'm going to go to, No, you are designing your life. So you are writing why it was the best year ever. And that's why this year will be better, because you will have perspective of what it is you really want to do. So thank you for taking the time to watch this and to listen. I hope you do this exercise, because it is a phenomenal exercise that will change your life. Have an amazing day. You are amazing. Believe it. Talk to you later.